Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the PC Perspective podcast. Tonight is podcast number 611, being recorded on January 13th, 2021. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am Brett Van Spruenberg.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
And thank you for stepping in tonight, Kent. And in the background, there'll be in and out of the call our engineer and editor-in-chief, Sebastian Peak, who is on another assignment inside his house at the moment. And like I said, he'll be dropping in and out when he is able. But if you like this sort of thing, please look us up on the website at pcper.com/subscribe to be alerted when this show goes live. And it is the only thing we use the mailing list for. So you'll be sent an email with what I hear is a very pithy saying in it. I don't know where those come from, but people are seeming to read them. So if you like that sort of thing, get it in your mailbox and be aware of when we're going live. To keep this whole thing going around, we have a Patreon. Or a Patreon, and with patrons in them, and that's at patreon.com/PCPer. If you enjoy this, please throw $1 in the bucket. We'd really appreciate it. And we have the uncut shows that go over there so that the patrons can take a look at those and communicate with us there. We get a couple of new ones. I think I mentioned these folks last time, but just to be sure that maybe they didn't see it when they first joined, I want to make sure they get a shout out here. Numbers Dude, which I called him before, which is his handle was 199-299-399-499. That's literally his name. And Matthew Marshall. And if you're already a patron member, go ahead and change your name. And if I get an email, we will suddenly interrupt this show and read your name if it's something we can read. There have been a few that, well, we haven't been able to read, but most of them we can go ahead and just read it out loud on the show. So there's that, and then moving directly into the thing that we must do almost every week because we have to, and that's Josh with the burger update.
No.
Are you sure?
Do I really have to?
Well, you wrote that it'll have to do.
Okay, it will have to do.
There is no way for us to zoom in on this.
What's that?
There's no way for us to zoom in on this.
He's not there.
As far as I know, he's not there.
So I'll tell a little bit of a backstory. So gyros are really one of my favorite foods, and I just never get one around here because who sells them in Laramie, Wyoming? I guess one place does, and I've had them, and they're really pretty blah. But my favorite burger place had a gyro special. They brought them in. And, they announced them, and I was like, okay, Wednesday is set. I'm going to get my gyro. I'm so excited about this. And I call them up. It's like I can make an order for pickup. And she's like, well, what do you want? I was like, is your special still the gyro? And she said, oh, we just ran out of those.
Ooh, sad.
So I ordered the Popper instead. The Popper is one of the favorite 2 beef patties. Cream cheese, candied jalapenos, raspberry chipotle. So it's like a jalapeno Popper, but in burger form. And it's a classic, and it's always comes out well.
But
and I'm
sort of the opposite of a Heroes.
Yeah, I really wanted that gyro. And everybody, other people call them Heroes, but I was always a gyro for me. Maybe it's a New York thing to call him a hero.
Yeah, I'll call him Shish Tayuk.
Hey,
what about my mother?
Hey, I'm here. How's it going, guys? And we have double the Josh.
We didn't miss you much. No, that's. Why do you do that to me?
Well, it was the easiest option. Let me see if I have
if
some
only
images.
you could put the Popper up there in one of them and.
Okay, hold on. Wait, that was your burger?
It was his burger. And we were asking people to use their imaginations, as it were, to try and imagine just how delicious it was.
It was delish.
Or if you're watching live, just go to twitter.com/JoshD. Walrus.
Josh D. Yeah. Josh Walrus is some guy down in Denver.
The Popper? What is this, sausages?
No, it's jalapenos.
Oh, those are jalapenos.
Jalapenos
Okay.
on It's like a jalapeno popper.
Okay. It's great to be here. I'm reporting live from virtual CES 2021. As you can see, not a whole lot behind me has changed since last week, but I am attending CES just the same, virtually, just like everybody else. We haven't traveled anywhere. We're not in Las Vegas. We're just at home, which takes almost 100% of the appeal of the show away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to go to casino hotels and, eat hors d'oeuvres and have free drinks, but
You're not invited to those swanky after parties.
yeah, but you still have to cover the stuff. And well, of course, let's see.
All work.
If I can figure out which mouse I'm supposed to be using. Look, they're future ready. People are doing stuff virtually this year. We're doing a lot of virtual meetings and virtual work. But hey, let's get into the most important news, which would be like the big players, obviously. In our space, we have AMD, Intel, NVIDIA, all having their own events. Two of them yesterday. AMD and NVIDIA were both yesterday. And AMD made a Ryzen announcement. Ryzen Mobile 5000. This is getting the Zen 3 core architecture unlocked for all those people who like to overclock their laptop processors. And they're advertising as a feature, which I found was kind of funny. On the heels of Intel's announcement, they're advertising higher TDPs as a feature, which makes sense if you were integrating this, I guess, into a really large chassis and you wanted to be able to sustain higher clocks. But processors announced 5900HX, 5980HX is the high end. 45 watt plus is the TDP they list, which fits within the same window as the 4900H from last year, which had a configurable TDP. I think it was 35 to 54 watts. Yeah, 35 to 54 watts. So this might just be like they're showing you performance at 54 watts. But they also had a Ryzen 7, the 5800U. That's going to be their 15 watt part. But here, look, they show this trend line, which I found was kind of amusing. If you see this line down here at the bottom, it's kind of on an upward slope. And then you have this slope, which is a little bit sharper. You have this huge jump in 2019 to 2020 with Ryzen 4000 series, and it kind of flattens. They flatten their own curve here with Ryzen 5000. They still claim the lead. They're looking at a 10980HK from Intel, which is their current highest end part. And they're showing single-threaded performance is 13% higher with the 5900HX. And overall CPU performance, looking at Passmark Performance Test 10, 35% faster than that Core i9 10th gen part. So, are you guys excited about Ryzen 5000? Has any of you used Ryzen 4000 in a notebook yet?
Not in a notebook. Not really. Did you look at their top to bottom stack that they released? There's still a couple of Zen 2 parts in their current lineup, which is interesting for laptops.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Okay.
It's not even all Zen 3. Kind of interesting. But they're calling it a 5000 part. I'm pretty sure. Is that right, Josh?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have to be kind of careful what you get with what you want, because they're not all Zen 3. I mean, Zen 2 is still a good architecture, but it's not Zen 3.
What about graphics? They were very light on technical details, and I didn't do any additional research today. Is it still Vega? Have they moved on to RDNA graphics?
I believe it's RDNA. I believe so. But I do remember them. I thought it was, but they the graphics thing that I do remember during the presentation was a very small image, which you may have captured on the right-hand side of the behind Lisa. But they had a picture of 2 GPUs that have yet to be released. They didn't really talk about it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was going to be. It was just a tease. It was a picture of what looked like the old Vega Nano.
Yes,
a small single fan. Yeah. So we'll see if that ever happens. But
the 5 series, 65 and then 60. I don't know. 65, 6500 XT kind of thing. I guess that's what they wanted you to imagine it might be.
Hold up, I'm gonna Bing it, and we'll just see what I come up with here.
Did you say Bing?
I just Binged it because I'm using. I plugged in this little mini PC, and only has Edge on it. So I did a search, and I'm like, oh yeah, Bing default search and Edge.
Oh yeah,
interesting.
Where is AMD's page for this? Anyway, I can throw something up on the screen. Well, they may or may not
let's see
have
if I
new
wrote it down.
graphics. Yeah, they need to have new graphics. I need to update the article if they do, because that would be a big deal. They didn't talk about it though, so you'd think if
No,
they were
but
doing
He
RDNA,
did
they'd
mention that the video game industry is larger than the music industry and the movie industry combined.
Was that before or after the 10 or 12 minute long Microsoft Teams call?
When you and I texted each other at that point, and I said to you, I said, couldn't they have had this private call when they weren't on stage with each other? It just seemed like there was just a whole bunch of backs slapping and going like, you're great, and I'm great, and I make you great, and no, you make me great, and let's make each other
That's
great
what
more.
Teams is for.
Oh.
The Gamers Nexus was pretty funny. They have like a critique of the AMD presentation on their YouTube channel today, and yeah, it's like a wasted keynote. That's what he calls it. Like you could have done so much more, and you didn't. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't terribly exciting, and they didn't announce any GPUs. It's just the mobile stuff, and of course, she's been barraged with questions of why aren't these available yet? When are they going to be? And I think Ian got her to answer some of that stuff. I didn't go through all of his entire article, but yeah, it's if you looked at the YouTube comments, it was all, where's the product? We're out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Bernie
was the NVIDIA
Sanders,
one,
Sanders with his I'm just asking for some more cards or something. I can't remember what the meme is, but yeah, disappointing. But they're trying to juggle all the 7 nanometer in between all of their different products, and I wonder if that is just not. I mean, Apple's making some space by going to 5 nanometer, but it's a high demand, and COVID has also affected pretty tremendously the entire supply chain. So someone was mentioning to me that container ships are it's harder to actually get product onto container ships now because there's other things like food that they're trying to.
Yep.
Yeah, well, vaccinations are going to be all airplane and heavy refrigeration, but a lot of the basic stuff, I guess, trying to buy lumber is really tough right now and very expensive, and so yeah, it's been a year, and getting product to consumers is obviously very challenging.
So you're saying we should calm down because in the grand scheme of things, graphics cards aren't that important compared to like
Bite your
food
tongue.
and medicine.
Why would you want to calm down?
Hey, I just looked it up on.
I found a note.
Okay, you did.
I did, and it says that she talked about a 65% performance per watt improvement with RDNA 2 coming to notebooks, and that she demoed a pre-release with Dirt 5. And my inside voice was like, Dirt 5 is really RDNA 2 friendly.
It is, but why wouldn't they? But look, if you look on their website, here's the top end 5980HX, and under graphics specifications, it says graphics frequency 2100 megahertz, graphics model AMD Radeon graphics, graphics core count 8. That sounds like
a lot.
That sounds like Vega to me. But
Yeah, it does.
I'm guessing there will be models.
That's what she was talking about.
With RDNA 2, but they're not out yet.
I think she was projecting a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there will be. If they had RDNA 2 in it, they'd be talking about it, wouldn't they?
Right, it's right here. I wrote it down. Yeah, you're right. They would. But she did talk about the coming improvement on it. So
I don't doubt it. I just don't think it's in these. But these are these are
not.
probably processors that will be paired with like a 3060 in a notebook. So
yeah,
or one of their own notebook or graphics cards,
which we'll talk about more in a minute.
So, I was just thinking like, graphics cards, high-end graphics cards, AMD, Apple, right? But no, because Apple's going to do everything with their own silicon. So
yes, they.
Wait, who just? Samsung. Samsung just announced their new Exynos, which will be powered by RDNA 2, I think.
Did I? I missed that one.
Yeah, the mobile. Samsung Exynos RDNA 2.
We'll have to
Look it
circle
up.
back to that. We throw a note in there, Josh, and we'll put that story on the list.
No, I won't, because I can't do formatting correctly. I have jaw pain. Can't do things.
Okay. Hey, Intel also announced stuff. That was the day before. They announced 11th gen stuff. So on desktop, it's Rocket Lake S, which, let's just get this out of the way. This is basically previous laptop architecture ported over to desktop. So along with that comes their better IPC, which they say is up to 19% higher than 10th gen desktop. But also the laptop limitation of only 8 cores and 16 threads max. So the new 11900K is not a 10-core part. It's not a 12-core part. It's an 8-core part. So you're getting higher single-threaded performance, but you are losing 2 cores, which I'm sure it's not a great look to go from 10 to 8 for your flagship.
But it's new.
It's new.
And you're going to like it.
Well, look at this.
I mean, if you think about it, it's what? If it's really, truly 19% overall, you're not going to notice in top-end stuff losing the 2 cores versus the older, unless it does some interesting boost stuff. But yeah, it's still, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I mean, you're increasing your throughput, but you're decreasing the cores, but not nearly as much as what you're increasing the throughput.
The slide I had up a second ago was what they're aiming for here. Better gaming performance than a Ryzen 9 5900X, according to Intel's testing. Of course, we need our own independent testing to verify this. And they're doing very high and ultra settings, like high, very high, and ultra across 7 games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the low, only a 2% win over the 5900X, all the way up to Total War 3 Kingdoms at 1080p high. They were 8% faster. It's not huge. If you get into the like competitive gaming arena where you're playing at like 1080 lowest settings Dota 2, I'm sure it will be that 8% would be a huge difference in total frame rate, but it's not massive, but it's enough to say, hey, we have the win in gaming again.
Nor is it noticeable. Oh, and we won't have to wait for 590 chipsets.
Right.
For sure.
Because even though they are adding, finally, PCI Express 4.0, on their chart here, they show backwards compatibility with 400 series chipsets. And I asked the question in our pre-briefing about PCI 4 backwards compatibility with the 400 series chipsets. And they said, we've enabled it on the CPU. It's up to motherboard vendors to have supported this. So, or words to that effect. As long as vendors want to support it, you'll have that too. So there's not as much reason to upgrade your motherboard this generation. So it wasn't really a one and done with Z490 at least. So if you bought a high-end board, because you can actually buy an Intel processor of the current generation, then you have an upgrade path. And as to availability, they're saying Q1, but Q1 ends at the end of March.
Yeah, and that's what all the rumors have been saying. And there was some other, I think, some motherboard manufacturer leaked out that wasn't going to be until March anyway. So that makes it 1 year and 9 months after AMD introduced a PCIe 4.0 enabled product. That's unheard of for Intel to lag that.
It's an eternity.
That much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other important,
then again,
Sorry, go ahead.
Lag. I get it.
AMD. No,
that was good.
Are you okay?
Remember the top,
was very
the top end AMD chipset was the 990FX, which was PCIe 2.0 until Zen processors came out. And so that was from 2008 when it was introduced as the 890 FX, and then through 2017. So yeah, AMD was a little, but I mean, sure, their Llano and their Trinity stuff was PCIe 3.0, their AM2. But anyway, yeah, that's a hell of a segue for no real reason. Sorry.
It worked.
Until
Moving
I
along.
forgot to switch off of Josh, but hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on 11th gen desktop
Yeah,
before we move on?
And one more stat that you had in there, which was the addition of 4 more PCIe lanes. And was it doubling the rate to the chipset or adding 4 more lanes to the chipset?
Just adding 4 more lanes.
Yeah.
I mean,
By
but it's
AVMI.
4.0. It's going to
Right.
be 20 total platform lanes, 20 total CPU lanes. I'm getting this confused with the laptop news
Right.
because laptop will eventually also have 20 lanes, apparently. Isn't it
Now-
funny? They're kind of on the same architecture now.
Now, I just don't know how the boards are wired, being a serial bus essentially in many ways. Are the data lines there on 490 to support additional lanes, or will we have to have 590 chipset in order to get? Because it's on the chip. It's on the
I
CPU.
know it's on the chip,
Files
but
it's going to get flash.
yeah, because they
So
depending on how they
Question.
implemented switching between like PCI like by 16 slot 1 and 2. I wonder
whether
if
the data lines are even there on the full sized PCIe 4.0.
No, you should have been on the call, Brett. That would have been a great question to ask. I did not think about that because I bet they would have just punted that to the like the motherboard vendor anyway. Like it depends on how they have it wired. So
Yes, it might, but that's a fine answer. That means it's enabled from our perspective. And if you get a good board, then it would be interesting for us to be able to say this is a board that does this or this one does not.
indeed,
Good question, though.
yeah, great question, Brett.
We'll ask that later.
All right, Intel also introduced their new Tiger Lake H35. Now you may be familiar with their 45 watt high power laptop parts. I can't remember the name. Is Comet Lake? Is that the current one? And because when they had to kind of fall back to 14 nanometer to make the faster laptop parts for the high end gaming laptops and stuff. Well, now they have this new Tiger Lake, which is a 35 watt part. They're calling it the H35, and their whole tagline is 5 gigahertz and 35 watts. So it should have roughly equivalent performance to last year's. Where did they make that claim? Basically the same performance as last year's 10980HK, roughly, but at 35 watts instead of 45 watts. Which would enable, thinner profile laptops or maybe some longer battery life. And their chart here only has one benchmark, and it uses an Intel compiler. So, the only thing I looked at this for was Intel to Intel, which on this chart looks almost identical. So maybe we're actually going to see a 10 watt reduction, but they'd be going from, 14 nanometer with the 10980HK to I believe this is super
Should be
fin.
10 nanometer.
Yeah, super fin.
Super fan.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tiger Lake, so yeah, it has to be super fin. And then the other thing is, this is also PCI Gen 4, has resizable bar, and somewhere in here they talked about 20 lanes. Okay, coming soon. This was not that particular SKU. Coming soon, we have 11th Gen Core H series that have PCI Gen 4 with 20 lanes. I suspect that those might also be 14 nanometer. I could be totally wrong. Maybe not. It'd be nice if they were all 10, but they kind of separated the two. They just had a coming soon slide for more H series, but the Tiger Lake H35 is its own product, and it only has 4 lanes of Gen 4 for the graphics card. It says, buy 4 lanes off the CPU for the highest bandwidth connection to latest discrete graphics. So, kind of have to read between the lines there. How exciting. Everybody's talking over each other to
I am on the edge of my seat with excitement. My nipples explode.
okay.
With delight.
I did
Hey,
have a quick
Call it what you like.
about the Intel. Apparently, the 11th gen desktop is 10 nanometer architecture backported to 14 nanometer. What
Yep.
exactly does that mean?
They drew outside the lines.
Basically, they had to. So they've got all their flows and whatnot for the design, And I don't know how Intel does it versus everybody else. They have their own kind of separate ways, though they are moving towards more industry standards, especially because they want to go with third-party fabs eventually. But essentially, they took these flows and then they backported them to a bigger, an older node, and they had to make adjustments in timings and way structures and design libraries and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of hand layout to Intel things, even though they're trying to get away from that and do more automated place and route. And so basically what fit in, it's like putting 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. I mean, it's not all going to fit in there. And so that's why we're losing 2 cores. We're probably getting a little bit less cache. They had to change around the SRAM design because, again, the differences in between 10 nanometer and 14 nanometer. So, yeah, it's a significant thing to backport a design to an older, larger process. I mean, especially when you've designed it for this newer one with certain specifications and physical properties and electrical properties that no longer apply when you're looking at 14 nanometers. So, yeah, that's essentially it in a nutshell.
But hey, speaking of Intel, it was a great 2-year run, but Intel CEO Bob Swan reported to be stepping down. This actually was reading this directly from the Intel newsroom, and I just reprinted the entire press release. Pat Gelsinger, currently the CEO of VMware, who has VMware tattooed to his arm, is joining the company as its new
Rejoining.
CEO. Yeah, I did not know that he was previously at Intel.
Yeah, he joined apparently Intel when he was 18 years old.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he's going to school and got a job as mailroom guy or whatever, but yeah, he's been there since he was 18, and he worked on when they were looking at a new 32-bit CPU. He and another guy worked on extending x86 from 16-bit to 32-bit, and that eventually became the 8386. And he was like project lead or lead architect on the 8486, and did stuff through Pentium until he left in, I think, 2012. He eventually got up to be CTO, and there was a lot of politics going on. There's a lot of big changes at Intel, and I don't know if he was expecting to go to the CEO position, and BK somehow got out in front of him, but he left, and there were a lot of hurt feelings apparently, and he went and took over VMware, and 8 years later, they invited him back, and we don't know what Bob Swan's going to do. I don't know if he's stepping down entirely or if he's going back to a CFO position, but that's something I guess we'll find out on February 15th, St. Valentine's Day. A match made in heaven, kicking Pat and Intel. I guess Bob Swan did a roundtable just a couple of weeks ago, and there was no indication that he was going to be giving up his spot. So,
no.
Again, we don't know any of the internal machinations of Intel, but they felt that they needed to get an engineer who had a tremendous amount of experience with Intel and drove some of the most successful programs that the company has seriously seen in its entire history. So it's a good move for Intel. I think that he'll inject some good ideas. He'll make some changes. He'll cut some fat, and maybe get rid of some MBAs and bring some more engineers back into management. Because nothing kills a company more and faster than bringing in MBAs. Nothing.
They are effective.
Well, in certain ways, yes.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that there's an actual engineer, like an architect, coming in who's going to look at the technology, understand it, and say, this is what we need to do to get our lead back.
I believe Francois swooned when he heard this.
Charlie was over the moon about it.
Yes.
Yeah, he and Pat are good friends. So
Let's see. Hey, another, former Intel person who's moved on. Jim Keller. I see Tenstorrent and I just see Tencent. It was wrong. This is Tenstorrent.
I saw it too. It's hot.
Out of Toronto.
And this is a few days ago. I mean, this was before the excitement, the endless excitement of virtual CES began. But what is it? This is in Toronto. The first dynamic artificial intelligence architecture facilitating scalable deep learning. They have a Grayskull processor with 120 10.6. Not Tencent, 10.6
Wait,
cores.
is this He-Man thing? Castle
Yes,
Grayskull?
it is.
Yes, it's the Grayskull
Castle
AI
Grayskull.
processor. Look at that.
It
Skeletor,
actually
you made me
exists.
do some coke.
On PCIe
That's no
4.0.
joke.
Let's edit all that out. See, if dedicated AI processors can exist on the PCI Express bus, why can't I have my dedicated ray tracing card? You know? And if this is an AI processor, let the dedicated AI processor handle my DLSS.
Sure.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
I know.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, interchip ray tracing and DLSS over a bus.
A PCI Express 4.0 bus. Think about it.
Yes.
Higher bandwidth.
Still.
How much lower is the latency on PCIe 4 versus 3, I wonder? Is it the same? Is it just faster, or is it lower latency? That's a great question.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I think it is faster latency. I mean, it's lower latency rather, just because the clocks are higher.
Anybody have any more thoughts on Jim Keller before we take our first ad break?
That guy gets around.
He does.
It's like he goes there, he does what he wants to do, and he's like, all right, I'm done. This doesn't interest me anymore.
I think
They counted on me being here. They counted wrong. Maybe he's just got
cleans up.
ideas, and he throws things at the wall. And Intel was like, "No, that's not. We don't want you in AI. We want you to focus on these platforms." And Jim's like, "Screw you guys! I feel like doing AI." So he
as the
quits
future.
Intel. Yeah,
And
So-
that's why we look in on what he's doing, because it's bound to be interesting and probably successful.
Forward thinking, like he was at Tesla when nobody had ever heard of Tesla. It's not true, but
Some people had.
he invented Intel. He turned AMD around when they were selling for less than $4 a share.
He's everywhere.
Or no, that was Apple. Or was AMD selling for less than $4 a share? I think they both were. Can you imagine if you'd bought into both Apple and AMD when they were trading for like $4 a share?
that would be nice.
You didn't buy enough. You only bought like 100
$285 was
Yeah,
the lowest I ever thought of buying AMD. But again, 2 children.
I could drink to
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one, but
Something.
Take a long pull of that water.
I'll pull this
Yep.
purified water enhanced with minerals.
Enhance it with vodka, you'll be better off.
We got our first sponsor of the evening, and that's
nice.
RemoteHQ. When you're looking to generate a remote workspace, turn to RemoteHQ. In this time of so many people finding themselves having to work from home or remotely, there's a better way to collaborate and still work together effectively. It's called RemoteHQ, as in headquarters. It's more than simply a call conference, screen sharing, file sharing, or video calling software though, although it is all that too. RemoteHQ is a no software download environment, as it's entirely browser-based. You can name and create custom meeting rooms that can be locked and only usable by authenticated users. You can build up different workspaces within your customized meeting rooms, where you can allow only invited members to interact and make changes on screen. There's website co-browsing and co-control. I've used it. It's impressively seamless, actually. RemoteHQ has an app importer, which is tuned for other collaboration sites like Google Docs, Dropbox, Microsoft Office, YouTube, and Trello. It essentially turns any website into an instant collaboration session, where multiple people can click, scroll, and type away. You can mix and match apps on your screen and automatically form visual layouts. It's really flexible for every meeting's unique needs. It can also be rearranged on the fly and pushed to all participants so everyone's on the same view. RemoteHQ can record entire meeting sessions and even transcribe voices into a text transcript in almost real time. It's kind of fun to watch. After setting up a meeting space, it can be carried over from session to session. Like a shared workspace can be persisted. That way you can be prepared for the next meeting where you and your team can pick up right where you left off. In my daily career as a software developer, I had need for a browser-based system like this while developing a remote learning management environment with another client, and RemoteHQ looks like it's going to fit quite nicely. They even have an API for integrations. So go over and check out remotehq.co/PCPer, that's .co, not .com, for a free trial, a 3-month free trial. That's remotehq.co/PCPer for 3 free months. Hey, and welcome back to the show, where we move on to NVIDIA. I think we both probably attended this one.
Hey, it's
Although I
on.
wrote it up. It's on. Gaming.
I think
It's the RTX show.
I think we all pretty much attended this one.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, it was on YouTube actually after they got done with
I
it.
took a red eye, and I was there just in time to get my take her credentials and stuff at the gate, and I found my seat, put my backpack down under the chair, got my laptop out.
Didn't they escort you to
Open up a bag of chips.
third row?
No, that wasn't me. I was almost all the way in the back of the auditorium
Oh,
for this one, so I didn't.
But
get a
you
lot of
were the
great-
one opening up the bag of Lay's.
Yeah, they were baked Lays, but yes, I thought they'd be quieter. Let's see. RTX Game On event, Ultimate Ray Tracing and AI. It says, and NVIDIA kicking off their 2021 with a celebration of hardware and games, showcasing ray tracing effects, Outriders. I like the writer here, one Brett Van Spruenberg, I believe. Yes. Outriders looks especially tasty, he says, as a crossover between tech dystopia and fantastical sorcery. Are you copying this, or did you write that?
I wrote that.
You wrote it. Wow. Tech dystopia and fantastical sorcery. It does look really
it's going to
cool.
be a phrase. It's going to be a phrase that gets copied. But you know what? I think it was accurate.
As I wait 6 minutes for this tiny mini PC to actually, pop out that image
Wow.
at the same size that it was
I actually
before.
had to think about that phrase, to think about, like, what the heck is this game? And that was what I came up with.
Yeah. Announcing GeForce
Unreleased.
RTX 3070 laptops, which they call the 1440p Gaming Beast.
I picked
1.5x
that one. That's the
faster
middle
than
one.
the 2070.
There's
Yeah.
a 3080 as well as a 3060 laptop also. I think they bragged about 70 plus laptops are going to...
Oh yeah, there's gonna be so many, and that's the thing. Like
Immediately.
they're in AMD laptops, they're in Intel laptops, they're just in everything.
Yeah. Well, the prices are ranging from just under $1,000, so they can say that at $999, to just under $2,000 at $1999.
But let's talk about
For gaming.
desktop. Yes, but hey, the 3060, you said it's official now. One of the
Yes.
worst kept secrets in gaming.
It
NVIDIA
is.
officially announced the 3060 at $329
Yeah, sure.
with
Supposedly 12 gigs, which
Yeah,
is more,
that's actually-
more than the 3080.
yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I heard about the
I
reasoning
don't-
behind that.
Okay,
I heard about it.
enlighten us.
The reasoning is the bus width has to be a certain multiple of the memory, or some has to fit in it in some way. They could either have gone 6 or 12, so they went 12 instead of
Yeah.
tuning it down for 6. That
Yeah,
was my
it's
understanding.
192-bit,
Yep.
memory
Yeah.
bus probably on that thing.
It is a 192-bit memory bus, and that is the reason they're not trying to go like, "Psst, this is a mining card." Although it might be, whatever. Might
I'm
work
sure
out
it
to
will
But
be.
that was, technically, I understand that's the reason why.
Look, we know we were all rooting for the Bitcoin price to crash because as it crashes, everything else crashes. Yesterday, the day before, it went down like 25%. So of course, Ethereum dropped like $200 or $300,
Perfect.
and that's what people use NVIDIA cards
Keep
for, as
doing
far
it.
as I know.
Yes.
So I should check. Let's do the weekly BTC price check.
I think it dropped a lot.
It's up.
Something like 30% in the last 2 days.
What is it? What is it now? What's the
According
number?
to Microsoft Bing, it's at $37,122.42. So it's up 1,000
Oh.
from earlier this afternoon. It's up like
Oh my.
3,000
mind.
since
I
yesterday.
thought it had dropped.
It did,
dropped,
but
and then
now
it
it's
came
going
back.
back.
It did. Oh, and then it came back. It dropped. People bought in, and then it went back.
Look, I'm not lying. Look at Microsoft Bing results here. 1 Bitcoin equals $37,146.
Uh-huh. So these laptops are not just for gamers; they're for professionals as well. By the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
professionals.
And really, they're for anyone who wants to buy the latest and greatest NVIDIA graphics architecture, because you can't really mine on a laptop. So the laptops will be available to buy for normal people to use and game on. And, I guess forget about desktop for a while.
And this will be the only way for you to get one anyway.
New Google search. How do I transplant a mobile GPU into a desktop?
There was one I saw a picture of. I think it was Asus that had an external. It was a sub micro notebook, and the GPU was external, and it sort of came together, and that way you could either carry your GPU with you or not, and it allowed you to have a thin and light, no thermal issues, and have a nice small compact laptop. And when you wanted to game it up, it came with the external GPU, the 30 series GPU.
So what you're saying is when you want to mine with
connector?
it, it's external, so you can just add some extra fans.
When you want to mine with it, you just
And it's
plug
Thunderbolt, so you can string 3 of them together.
It might be. I don't know.
Daisy chain your mining cards together on your laptop. You don't need a lot of CPU horsepower. You just need that as many graphics cards as possible. And then have your M.2 slot in the laptop. Have that feeding off to another graphics card.
It's 4 more games, man.
Gosh dang it, cat. Sorry, my cat is on my desk and knocking crap off.
That's what cats do.
I write this into the email saying this is what happens.
Hey, Josh, at the 1 hour mark, can you just throw a bunch of stuff off your desk?
Yeah, it's scheduled.
Where's the cat? I'm not seeing a cat. That's a box.
It was she threw this off of there and into the garbage can, the Icy Dock Tough Armor. And oh my gosh, cat, she's gonna be mad. Oh, and of course she grabs everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Cat break.
Yeah. What's up, Rainey? By the way, that's not a security answer.
So yeah, no one will be able
You
to
can
buy
try.
the 360 anyway. But it's nice to see that they mean to introduce it at $329 as if. Did you see they were talking about this on Discord earlier today. Newegg selling, was it 3060 Ti's? Not through their store. It was a SKU they didn't have in the store, but they sold them on eBay for $300, $200 more than they would have sold them through their store.
It was like $630, so it wasn't a huge mark, but it was still $130.
$130 over. Okay, I knew it was something.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
They're not selling them on their website outside of a bundle if they get them in stock at all.
I couldn't find it on their website because I looked for this one, MSI, the 3060 Ti, and I couldn't find it. The Gaming X Trio, I think it was, or is it? Yeah, one of those.
So they had almost 500 of those, and they've sold them all
on eBay.
So EVGA, like most of the NVIDIA board partners, have announced that there's a price raise coming on the RTX 30 series cards due to tariffs and other reasons. But EVGA has done something, as you know, they've got the queue for their EVGA Elite members where you can sign up for notifications, and they take the orders based on the order that you signed up for that particular SKU. Well, Jacob at EVGA announced on Twitter this week that even though there's a price increase, if you're already on the queue for these SKUs, they will honor the price that you signed up for through April 16th, which I think is a great thing for a company to do. They will take a little hit on this, but they're doing the right thing here, I believe.
I signed up day of with EVGA. They've never contacted me.
Yeah, me neither.
Some of the SKUs...
They told me you can't do it in Canada.
Some of the SKUs on the queue have had little to no movement, and others have moved quite a bit. Unsurprisingly, the ones that have moved are the For the Win 3 cards in both the 3080 and the 3090. And usually the ultra variants of those. The XC3 Gaming, which are the base cards in all the various lines, have moved almost none on the queues. And so people that signed up day of for those have not received their notification that they can buy. Whereas people that signed up for the For the Win 3 Ultras or the XC3 Ultras are getting cards.
The Thermaltake Argent gaming peripherals. This is their new brand. It's gaming with modern aesthetics.
Yes.
From headsets
So it
to
looks
desks.
like
We'll match your keyboard, your desk, your chair, your headset stand, your mouse pad. Like literally just about everything you can think of putting in your computer room can be run. And of course synced with 1,000,000,001 ARGs.
And you know Jeremy wrote this when the alt text on this image is just yup. It's just YUP.
Because, I mean, when's the last time you saw a physical metal volume knob on a keyboard?
The last time
This
I
used to
reviewed...
be a big thing.
Well, I feel like there was one on the last Corsair one I looked at. This looks very Corsair-like to me. It's like Corsair meets Cooler Master kind of aesthetic.
The headset, the outside of the headset does look Corsair-like. But I think the proper response to a nice metal volume knob is yup.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
as long as you're... Look, Brett, as long as you're not concerned about the SEO implications of not using the alt text, I mean...
Yep.
The main text is proper. The alt text is not.
Okay. I couldn't remember which one matters more, the title of the image or its alt text in search.
According to the scoreboard, it's the title.
Really?
Well, the title matters a lot. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't just call the title 1, 2, 3, 4 for images? I should probably actually put
And you
names.
claim that I'm doing it wrong. I see.
Look,
Yeah.
you know, it takes a lot of work to put these articles into the what is this thing? The Divi builder.
It is.
Enough
If
shop
you can
talk.
believe it,
Curse of my
if you can
life.
believe it,
But-
but someone just joined our Patreon.
I can't believe it.
Oh,
Why?
beautiful.
I
I
can
know.
believe it.
It's true though. This person's name is KNEWMAN. It's Newman. Clever.
Newman.
Or new
felt-
man.
Newman. That's one. It's one word. So
New year, new me. Right?
yep. I knew it.
Hey, speaking of air coolers, Thermaltake also decided to get tough.
Oh, but I couldn't tell you about the best Thermaltake air cooler.
sorry.
Oh, wait.
Which is
Go
what?
back.
It's a DS100, which sits in your desk. It's about 500 mils long, 107 mils wide, and 82 mils thick. It's got LEDs on it, 4 70-millimeter fans, and it will blow on you to keep you cool during intensive gaming sessions.
Where is this? This is with their peripherals?
Yes.
Is it pictured in there?
I didn't see a
On the desk?
picture.
I didn't picture. They
Unforgivable.
didn't show a picture of it
They
for some
didn't show
reason.
a picture of it. Okay.
I looked
that
in the
would've been
PR
interesting.
and they didn't want to show it off for some reason.
Okay, let's go back to the text here. Just imagine, if you will, a 500 millimeter long, 107 millimeter wide, 82 millimeter tall desk cooler that's loaded with 6 ARGB LEDs and, yeah, like he said, 4 70 millimeter fans. You know,
Who needs the fan and the mouse now? You can have it on your desk.
yeah, make sure you have noise canceling headphones on when you're using this.
Well, the ARGENT H5.
If only they get the Delta Black.
Yeah, the deltas.
I'm
Yeah.
going to buy this and put
From like
Noctua fans
1U
on it.
and 2U servers, those would be
Yeah.
really sweet. And whoever said we'd reached peak RGB, you were wrong.
Oh, no. There's so much more you can do.
I keep being wrong.
I'm looking on Thermaltake's website right now to see if maybe they have.
Well, if you want to flip over to the coolers, I'll talk about those.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hold on. Just
Tough
take
air.
away my PC.
do have
Why
to-
don't you?
I do have this
It's not
sneaking
dead air, it's
suspicion
tough
that
air.
Thermaltake will contact Sebastian asking if he wants to review it, and he'll say, "Sure, send it to Kent."
Hey, that's standard operating procedure. It's like, yeah, Brett, do you want this? Kent, do you want this? And just everything goes to one or the other. I'm just like copying and pasting their addresses into every reply.
Sure. I just got in touch with the Thermaltake people, and we might be getting some additional Thermaltake stuff to take a look at. So,
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Thermaltake,
he spoke very highly of you, Sebastian. I'm not sure why, but
I'm confused by that too. Let's look down here. Thermaltake, go TOUGHAIR or tough. I'm seeing TOUGHAIR. I don't know if I like this brand.
It's more like TOUGHAIR.
That's what happens if you get too close to the cooler while it's running.
Yeah.
While it's running, you're gonna get some TOUGHAIR.
These kind of look like Scythe coolers, like Noctua meets Scythe kind of thing, which isn't a bad thing.
Look at the coloring. This image that you're looking at right now, everybody who's actually looking at this, is a full colored screen.
It's monochrome.
Okay.
No. I mean the display is monochrome. I'm using a CGA monochrome monitor for the video capture.
I could tell it was a little bit lacking, but
yeah,
these coolers are actually, basically gray on black on gray, which means, and I wrote this, they match pretty much everything. So thankfully someone is responding to, please stop giving us things that look nasty, that don't match anything.
Who cares about what they look like? Look at these prices. We're talking $34.99 all the way up to $49. That's cheap for.
It is but the dissipation is not stellar. 180 watts.
Yeah, it's not as much as.
It's not huge.
But hey,
I'm
for the
price, it's
for
good.
The price.
These would look and work really well on like many AMD CPUs, for instance. No problems at all to getting underneath that dissipation. They would look really, really good. Somebody else mentioned that they thought that the fan blades, after I had observed that they look textured.
Yeah.
We don't have them, of course. We can't, it's not like we were there at CES. We could see and touch them. We get pictures. So we just guessed they look fibrous, like they might be fiber reinforced plastic, similar to what Noctua does.
I'm just thinking
very
about
similar to the Sterox blades on the newer Noctua fans.
Mm-hmm. Might be similar process.
Look at the fan on the front of this Scythe Ninja 5.
Well, the blade pitch isn't the same.
This blade pitch is not the same, and the number of blades is not the same, I don't think.
Correct.
But
no, it's
look,
not.
the frame, the gray rubber corners.
I'll give you that. I've
found a few Scythe coolers in my day. That's very similar. And of course, this is more the size of like the Mugen that we're talking about here, because the Scythe is a lot bigger. This is the Ninja, but anyway, it's a similar sort of look that I'm talking about, but cheap, inexpensive. I should say. They don't like when you say cheap.
Not cheap. So yeah, they look. Their look is relatively attractive for people who are into that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can get some in and see how they perform.
Okay, we just need to wait for Gamers Nexus pressure testing of the base
and flatness.
Right.
How flat is it?
That's why I use thermal paste. By the way, that's why I use thermal paste. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, you should probably use thermal paste.
Because they're never 100% flat.
They're not.
Some are better than others. Direct contact heat pipes tend to be less consistent.
Two dissimilar metals pushed together.
Plus, when they heat, they also expand at different rates. And
Indeed.
Hey, this is not exactly old news because you can use it with the new processors. I don't know. I just went to Josh out of habit.
Oh, wait, before you do that,
yes,
we need to pause briefly for our second show sponsor this evening of LinkedIn Talent Solutions. The new year's here, and it makes for a fresh start for your small business. Whether you're shifting business hours or hiring more remote employees, one thing that remains unchanged is the importance of having the right people on your team. When your business is ready to make that next hire, LinkedIn Jobs can help by matching your role with qualified candidates so that you can find the right person quickly. The LinkedIn Jobs platform makes it so easy for job seekers to search broadly on general expertise or zero right into their exact specialties, so you'll have the tools to craft an appeal for your precise requirements. LinkedIn is an active community of professionals with more than 722 million members worldwide. Getting started is easier than ever, with new features to help you find qualified candidates quickly. Post a job with targeted screening questions, and LinkedIn will quickly get your role in front of more qualified candidates. Manage job posts and contact candidates from a single view on the familiar LinkedIn.com, as functions are streamlined onto one simple screen. And now you can do this all from your mobile device, no matter where the day takes you. That's how LinkedIn Jobs can help you hire the right person faster. Visit linkedin.com/PCPer to get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/PCPer to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions may apply.
Are we back?
We're back.
It's great. Hey, you know what? I'm glad we're back because I want to talk about motherboards that are covered in plastic shrouds. Yes.
Yes.
What could be better?
Yes.
And I was going to point out, this is not exactly out of date because this is a Z490 board, and they're coming out with a new Z590 board that looks exactly the same, but I think they work with MSI on this. At least they did back in the Z390 days. Oh, it is ASRock this time. Okay.
They were figuring it's ASRock, although when you strip it down, all the branding is NZXT anyways, but the layout looks like an ASRock.
Okay. But I'm curious what the FPS review has to say about this, because I have looked over one of these boards, and at least a couple of generations ago, they were using plastic in place of metal over the M.2 slots, so your insulator was actually not going to anything. You're keeping it good. No. So
the design is tight enough that you can't even put a heatsink on top like you could on any other motherboard.
Oh, really? Okay. Because I see that panel is removable, at least, for the M.2, but you're saying there's not really...
That was secured very well with tape from the looks of it.
Come on. No, those snap in. I think I remember them snapping in, but there's some play, so I can see why they would tape them. I don't know why they make these. I mean, NZXT has not exactly had the best reputation for thermals with a recent enclosure, and now you have... I mean, the BIOS looks nice. You know what? Let's see. Can we deduce who made this from the BIOS? This kind of looks
American
ASRocky.
Megatrends.
Kind of looks ASRocky to me as I wait an age. Oh, this is ASRock. You can tell from the font.
Yeah.
They've just put a NZXT over the ASRock logo. 100% guaranteed ASRock.
So I threw this in there not because I thought it was particularly spectacular or noteworthy or anything like that, but since you posted it, it's been one of the highest trafficked news items on the site. Apparently, tons of people were interested in
understand you people.
Board. So
keep reading. I love you. I don't understand.
Why do this?
I have no answers for you. What did they think about the board?
But I mean, if you pick up one of their white cases and one of their sets of white coolers, and it doesn't have any RGBs on it, but it's got a stupid amount of RGB headers, like 5 volt and a couple of other different types. So, if you were to build a case to like Maury does for competition, I could see it being a place to start from. Because you're going for looks, you're not going for performance. Because I mean, first off, Maury would hate that CMOS battery. Like, look at it.
Right, you're not getting to that without taking the whole shroud off.
Yeah, apparently, there is sort of a way, but it ain't easy, and you can't have a GPU installed. Or a long M.2.
I do appreciate the fact this appears to be one piece this time, unless that's the bottom. Is that the top or the bottom? No, that's a bottom piece. I see, and those are the M.2 cutouts.
Yeah.
Because the previous one that I looked at was individual pieces that all kind of snapped over other pieces. But here, look, I mean, this part right here to the right, if you're watching the video, those are holes to allow the actual heatsink that is over the chipset to breathe. Or no, where is the chipset heatsink? Please tell me there was a chipset heatsink. Because that's just bare. They must have taken it off.
Yeah, it looks like there's some compound on it.
Yeah, okay. I'm not a huge fan of the...
It's actually Compound W.
Yeah. Anyway, it's all about the looks with this one, so we'll just leave it at that.
Apparently, it was
the only nice thing they had to say was they didn't half-ass the power system this time.
Okay.
It was actually a proper 8+2 because on the previous ones it was doubled from the doubler. It was not good. So at least this one's stable.
Okay. They said it's not really for overclocking, but it's a good kind of budget option. So I guess I'd have to look at pricing because I thought the N7 stuff was kind of up there.
240, 250. Not ridiculous,
That's
but
not
not
ridiculous. No. Let's get into mainstream electronics here. The LG Rollable. I saw this and I'm thinking,
great. Yes, this is a real thing.
is this, imagine, if you will, a phone that rolls into the size and shape of a pencil and then you tuck it behind your ear. That's not what this is. It's the same size and shape of your phone, but then a little bit of it rolls
and now it's
out.
almost a tablet.
Right. I'll just put video of
Now
this
it's a
over
phone.
this whole section so you can see.
As long as you use Jeremy's sound effect.
I will. I'm not going to change the audio.
First seen, I believe, in 2018. And by seen, I mean there was a prototype that you were allowed to sort of look at but not touch. And, well, so Virtual CES is a perfect way to launch it again.
Yes.
Where is a video of this actually working? Let's see here.
Verge had one, I think, to link to.
Okay. I guess if I have to.
I know, I had to.
Here's the thing.
The one that had it.
It's the size and shape of a phone, and then it gets about an inch wider, and that's it. All of the additional costs and complexity and fragility to gain.
Hey,
15%
Sebastian, it goes
width.
from ultra wide aspect to just wide aspect.
I noticed that it
downgrade.
changes. Let's see. LG Rollable. Let's see if I can play this over again. Yeah, it's just a GIF here. Look at that. It goes from a taller 4.3 to 16.9. Look at that.
Hey, you know, sometimes that extra inch means all the world.
That's what I've heard.
I don't get it.
Let's just
That's
watch
what
this
LG
all
said.
day.
Yeah.
More to explore. So explore the deeper regions of your pocketbook with the LG Rollable, proving that foldable phones are not gimmicky enough. Anybody else have
LG
some
stand for again? Lucky Gold.
Lucky Gold Star. Yep.
Look at this
Look
guy.
at this.
Gold Star.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Is that another screen on the outside? How many screens does that device have?
No,
Hold on, let me go.
no,
all
it's
of
just it's just a small LED with a clock on the outside.
But it is a
The
screen.
fingerprint collector.
Yes, it is.
But that has a proper hinge and two distinct frames.
Yes.
What device is this?
That's the V60 ThinQ.
Okay. And that's a LG product.
Yes.
So LG does folding right, but rollable, it's a trade show showpiece, I guess. So why not?
Oh, yeah. And it has been for a while.
And Samsung, what about a
I remember
Samsung TV
Asus doing
or
one.
something? What was the
Yeah,
other?
there was another mention of that in the article. If you click through there and look at it.
I you know what? If I don't see pictures, I don't read the text during the show.
Jeremy
I guess.
guy.
Oh, go away, Ryan.
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
where's the picture? Samsung has been showing us its micro
On the
LED
internet.
TV. Well, put it in here off of the internet. Let's see. Let's click on it. Clicking on the link so we can wait
We're doing
forever.
it live.
And I get, what is this?
More
Slash
text.
dot and another
Yep.
link.
You wouldn't believe how deep the picture I buried this time was.
I don't want to know. I've given up. I've already given up.
Hey, yeah, you need to put some effort into this. It is $156,000 to
All right, I'm
buy
clicking again.
for their 110.
Oh, but you know what? It was worth it for the lifestyle image that David
let's see it.
Katzmeyer's article has here. CES 2021, Samsung huge micro LED TV lets you watch 4 things at once.
Or one really big thing.
Wait, does that mean that this is really multi-stream? Like it's
Four
actually doing
55
four-
inch.
Yeah, it's doing 4K 55s and seamlessly
Yep,
borderless.
it is.
Yeah, great. But hey, you know what? That sounds more practical because then I could actually hook up,
Things.
How many graphics cards anymore have more than 1 or 2 HDMI outs on them?
Not many.
Yeah. We might get like a Matrox product, but those will all be DisplayPort, like mini DisplayPort or USB-C at this point. Maybe it's
And
USB-C.
4K might be pushed on it.
I think one of the 1600 XTs have 3 HDMIs.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
3
I don't remember
HDMIs?
whose it was. I don't remember whose it was.
That seems crazy.
Yeah.
What is the next story on our list? Fallout New Vegas, total conversion. Now, enlighten me. Total conversion mods are from way back in the day, and it's using the game engine to make a new game, right?
Well, do you remember being able to drive a tank or a car in Fallout New Vegas?
No, you're a
Because
liar.
in the Frontier, apparently you'll be able to. They've added dynamic weather to it. They've changed the skybox completely to support HDR. They even mention in their little tips something about aerial dogfighting. So it's not just, hey, okay, we're up to a bit of the snowy north. It's going to be a wee bit different. I'm really curious, and it drops on Friday. They've been working on it for forever. But it will give you, you can be California Republic, the Roman Legion, or the Crusaders of Steel. So there'll actually be 3 totally separate plots, like there sort of was in New Vegas, with a crap load of side quests, proper rendered cutscenes, brand new dialogue. But I'm just really curious, like vehicles in Fallout. I haven't done that since Fallout 2, when that's where I used to keep all the drugs I was addicted to, because that's what happened in Fallout 2. You end up addicted to stim packs, and it just goes horribly. You end up selling things that no human should ever sell. And it's a great game. So yeah, I'm kind of curious what this will be like. And if you've got New Vegas, they're actually releasing it on Steam, so you don't even have to screw around with the mod manager. Just take a look for it on Steam, subscribe to the mod, and come Friday, you'll be able to take a peek at it. It's going to be interesting. And probably
Sounds
better
fun.
than Fallout 76.
Ken, I think you have a CG Project Red story on here.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
that's pretty much the gist of it. One of the CD Projekt Red's co-founders posted a 5-minute video on YouTube today, and began right up front by apologizing, especially for the experience on last-gen consoles and consoles in general. But he was pretty positive overall about moving forward with patches to fix the game, and new content coming to the game. But he also gave some explanations about the biggest reason is why the console, especially the last gen console experience, is so poor. And a lot of it comes down to they were just, over ambitious with what they thought they could do with the game on those systems. And they've spent day after day up to 0 hour at the launch of trying to address those issues. But, it was good to see a company coming out and saying, hey, this wasn't what we hoped it would be. But we're still working to try and make it what you wanted it to be. And it's one of the reasons I've been a fan of CD Projekt Red for a while, because they've always communicated with the gamers, and they don't release a huge number of games, but they work really hard on the ones that they do release. Until now.
Or yeah, they do.
I can't believe this. This is CES. We've done 3 days of virtual CES. We went through a few topics. They were big company keynotes. And we're at an hour and a half. Not even an hour and a half.
How about those MSI cards that you put a news item in from CES today? The ones you can't buy.
Oh,
the water-cooled ones.
Yeah.
Throw that up there.
Yeah, who could possibly have thought that a helicopter making a landing on an ocean, on a water landing, might have been a new Seahawk?
Big hint.
Could you? Yeah.
Guess.
So they gave us a picture. So click on the picture, Sebastian. I put it there just for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
that's
images.
The 3090. They didn't specify exactly what it will be, other than it'll be the RTX 330 family. So, expect to see more than just the 3090. And as with the previous ones, you've got your nice big radiator as well as local air cooling on the card. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, if you've got a card where you're getting thermal limits, this should solve your issue. But the Supreme went the other way. So they've got the Twin Frozer 2S, which, is relatively familiar. But what they've done with this, and they didn't exactly specify what they did, but they've enhanced the power stages on it. So if it's the power that's limiting your overclock, then the Supreme seems to be the way to go. So it's nice to see that you've got this choice of cards that you aren't going to be able to buy until sometime when the 4000 series comes out. But it's nice to see that they exist somewhere.
Real products that do exist. Sorry, Josh.
Nope. Don't be sorry to me. I have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say? So now we go to Josh at camera 2.
Nothing.
Let's go back to the MSI story. This might be, maybe I'm crazy, this might be one of the most attractive motherboard designs I've ever seen. Look at this.
You combine the NZXT shrouding with people who know what they're doing.
It's metal. It's probably actually a functional heatsink. It's 3 different panels. I like this purple and kind of
the backplate cover is kind of pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, I like what they're doing here, and the monitor looks cool. They have an ultra wide curved monitor here. I like their aesthetics this generation, which is all that matters, really.
Yeah,
they went with T-Mat on everything.
Okay, picks of the week. Hey, it's that time of the show where we talk to our panel about things that they're into, they're excited about. Maybe they're making a purchase. Josh, can you?
Maybe we're thinking about making a purchase.
Yeah,
probably not right
Come
now.
on,
But anyway,
the trigger. What's classic?
it's an LG Nano LED, which is kind of their, it's a full array backlit IPS panel. So you're not going to get super good HDR, but you're going to get pretty good HDR, and it's under $1,000. You can actually find it on sale at a different site, but I just put it on this one anyway. It's got all the connectivity that you want. Low latency. I looked up the reviews. It's not an OLED. It's not an OLED. Just get that out of your mind right now.
Is it OLED, Josh?
Not only no.
Okay.
It's not
OLED.
It's not. But it's
you know
under
what?
$1,000.
It's full array local dimming, and if most people don't have that on their LCDs, I have an LG with full array local dimming from 10 years ago, and it looks great.
Yeah, and so compared to an OLED, it doesn't look great, but compared to pretty much every other backlit or side lit or whatever screen, it's going to look a lot better. I mean, you're not going to get the pure blacks, but you're going to get better blacks. You're not going to get the really bright HDR stuff, but it's going to be much better than most others. So it's got FreeSync. It's not a G-Sync, but it's a base. It runs at a true 120 hertz, and plus with that extra flicker thing, you can get the 240 hertz motion smoothing crap. That's awful.
That's official marketing speak, by the way. That extra flicker thing.
That extra flicker thing to get the 240. But I mean, overall, it looks like a very good 55-inch, not quite OLED monitor screen. Plus, you're not going to have burn-in, obviously. So you could use that as a monitor. It's got FreeSync, VRR, 4K, 120 hertz. It's
huge.
Kind of, it can do a lot of good things for you, and I'm seriously looking at it. Even though, you spend $500 more and you'll get an OLED with G-Sync, but you're at the 120 but much better HDR and Dolby Vision and all that fun stuff. It's hard, but anyway, if you're looking for something sub 1,000, I think you'll be extremely happy with this, especially if you've never seen an OLED. You'll be really happy then if you're upgrading from a 60 hertz IPS panel with, side lighting LED. So,
Jeremy has 2 links for us this week. Let me see if I get the order right.
Always.
Which one is first?
Whichever one you like.
Okay, let's start with T-Force. Oh, you're picking this?
I don't know which one to pick. Do I want this one, which has nano silver and photocatalytic materials built into it, and will be provided to certain people during giveaways and such?
Oh, nice! It's like a sealed bag.
T-Force mask.
Okay. Prevents odor. Hold on, this prevents odor residue.
I mean, this is important for a gamer. So I saw that, and I'm thinking, okay, this is maybe timely, but kind of ridiculous. And then Razer just had to step up their game.
Oh, yeah.
This Project Hazel is an N95 mask, which comes in its own container, which has a UV light emanating from within it, so that when you put it in and charge the mask, for this charge, this mask must be charged wirelessly, because it has AI, which uses deep learning to be able to amplify your own voice to make it sound natural while you are talking, even though you're muffled by a mask, which has a see-through vent so that people can see your lips. It also has a low light mode, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I think it just sort of, the RGBs sort of glow, and now your face is glowing, or at least the bottom half is.
You had me at RGB. It's
RGB. Which one do you buy?
When you said Pika, no, there's no question you buy this one. It's just a matter of which color. Do you want the white or the black? But they're both customizable. You could walk around with that Razer green. You could do like a rainbow thing. What if it has like a pulsing? Yep. Does it pulse with your voice? I have so many questions.
It uses Ranger Chroma, so you can do what you want.
Yeah, it's got a microphone, amplifier. I wonder if you could make yourself sound better. Like, could I make myself sound less like nasally?
Nasal boy.
Yeah.
Could you make it painted like the Mad Max guy? I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Well, that would at least be more interesting.
Yeah, with the jaws painted.
Yeah.
Like a fighter plane.
I just want to know how much this is.
Eyeliner stuff going on,
If you have to ask.
Okay.
I think Sebastian could pull that off.
What, the mask?
Yeah, and the red eyeliner and everything.
I'm not sure about that.
No, you could try.
I saw the video for this earlier today, and I just felt like I was watching one of Razer's infamous joke products, which they normally announce on April 1st, but they didn't do it last year. So I have the idea that this is actually not going to be a real product. I could be wrong, but...
well, it's AI enabled, so, it's got to be legit.
It leverages the cloud to enable... I wonder if does it have Wi-Fi? I'm sure it doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Not yet.
No.
It has UV. Different radio.
Brett, I am perplexed by your pick. What is Tony's?
Okay, let me just go in here and say, I get all these emails from lots of different places that are like, come look at our stuff at CES, come look at this, come look at that. And I've probably gotten, 15 or 20 of them. You've probably gotten the same. And I didn't erase any of them yet because I didn't really read a lot of them because they were like, I'll get to that at some point.
You don't need to read any of them, actually.
Well, I went and looked at a couple of them. I'm like, you know what? I don't really have something very interesting for a pick this week, so I'm going to grab one of these and just talk about one of the random emails that I got and give them a shout out, give them some exposure. So I picked this one. This is a kid's toy, essentially, and it is an electronic speaker, but it is non-networked. So it works with these characters. If you scroll down, you'll see different ones, or scroll up or down, wherever you're at on the page. I'm I don't know. You got to go back to the homepage.
I got to
But
click.
anyway,
I don't know what I'm doing here.
you got to go back to the homepage or something. I don't know.
Go back.
You're on the bundle page, so yeah, probably someplace else. So it's a speaker, and the characters, when they're in proximity to the characters, they will tell a story. So every character can tell a different story, and they're kept relatively kid safe by the fact that they're programmed once from your phone, and then they're not networked again. So there's no way to attack them or anything. You can make your own, so you can do your own stories and give them to your kids, and they can move the characters in and out and listen to the characters read a book with sound effects and stuff like that. And it is amusing for kids of a certain age and, well, relatively safe. I mean, most things, if you try hard enough, can be hacked. But there's an air gap with these, so they have no Wi-Fi. They're RF enabled. So I think you might even have to plug them in order to talk to them. But anyway, this was a CES item that I picked out of my mailbox and threw it out there to say this is new tech that people are trying to get others to look at and maybe invest in. Or there's some lines in there about
it's like a reverse Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So
instead of putting different tapes on your Teddy, you put different Teddies on your tapes.
Yeah, well, the box I think is already pre-programmed, or the characters, and the box knows which characters are near it or on the top of it, and then moves to the story and tells the story.
I just wanted to say
character.
Teddies.
You did.
Success.
Boom. So that was my pick.
Their website is not ready for prime time. Like if you click on Explore and it says, sorry, there are no products in this collection. Like, oh, do I have to click on a collection? And it's like, no, there's nothing there.
It looked better before when I went there and saw it earlier today.
Well, you weren't using an underpowered mini PC that I never should have done.
Maybe that was it, because there was a lot more interactivity.
You know.
There's a movie that plays when you open the homepage, and it was relatively interesting to look at with kids using it and stuff like that. So maybe it's the machine you're looking at it on.
Or maybe most of the stuff that you get in your email after you register for CES. Because registering for CES means that you will just never stop getting product pitches. And
you get reminders of CES coming up again in March.
that hurts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Prepare now.
So that was what this is. I went and grabbed one at random and said, this looks interesting. Throw it out there.
All right. Look, you don't have to defend yourself, Brett, just because I'm attacking you.
Sure.
No, that's weird.
Yeah. All right.
I could just take it.
Kent has a pick. I don't have a pick this week. Kent has a pick. Take it away, Kent.
I've got a fantastic pick this week. So these are a set of 5 Arctic Cooling P12 fans, which are, if you've not heard about them, they are the bargain fan on the market right now. They are super quiet. They have very good airflow characteristics. And you can get a 5-pack of them, PWM, for $31 plus $10 shipping. So you're paying under $10 a fan for very high quality fans. They have a very interesting feature where you can daisy chain the plugs on them and use just one fan header off of your motherboard, or 2, depending on how you've got them arranged in the system. But they're great fans, and they're really cheap.
I've got 2 of them on a 60mm 120 and a push-pull configuration on an 8700K that's overclocked to 5 gigahertz, and it works great.
Oh, this exact fan?
Those fans. They came with the Arctic cooler. They don't make this cooler anymore, but it's a 60mm thick 120 in a push-pull configuration.
Gotcha. Hey, that is our show this week. Believe it or not, CES will be over by the time we talk to you guys again. We're back next week, probably Wednesday. But you know what? You can find that out if you sign up for our mailing list, which Brett talked to you about at the beginning of the show, I'm sure. I wasn't here for the first 15 minutes or so. But yeah, you got that? You got that under control? Okay.
I did.
All right, well,
thank you.
Thanks for listening and or watching. I recommend you do both repeatedly from different IP addresses and on different devices throughout the day. when this goes up. All right, talk to you guys next week.